Team Sprunk or Team eCola? Who has more sponsored vehicles and the stronger racing team? I categorized every single livery in GTA by sponsors so that you can easily build a fully branded racing garage for your favorite in-game company. And today, we're kicking it off with Los Santos' two biggest beverages, Sprunk versus eCola. But here's the twist, some vehicles actually rep sponsorships with both brands, and at the end of the video we'll see which brand sponsors the fastest vehicles in each class. To start, let's look at all 42 Sprunk sponsorships. Starting off with the Asbo, which has a very unique design with the Sprunk logo, being one of a kind in the entire game. Next up we have the Astro GZ. Now this livery is very loud, but it actually comes in two different color schemes, the primary and the alt version, so this car has two separate liveries. The Body 801RR is one of the few vehicles in the game that comes stock with a livery, and Sprunk is among these options. Another bike to feature a Sprunk livery is the BF400, which is fairly similar to the 801, but a little bit updated. The Brioso RA is the only compact car that Sprunk sponsors, and this design looks simple but elegant. Both the Buffalo EVX and the Buffalo STX have similar designs to the Sprunk Buffalo, which we'll touch on later, so Buffalo is definitely a long-term partner of Sprunk and Sprunk Extreme. Now although it's not as loud and proud with the sponsor, the Champion does have a Sprunk-specific livery. The Coquette D5 is a bit more clear with its sponsorship, only featuring a few minor brands sprinkled alongside Sprunk. The Euros also has one of these designs, but it is locked behind a reputation in the LS car meet. The Faction Custom Donk has liveries that the regular Faction Custom doesn't have, including another Sprunk sponsorship that can only be applied in Benny's. The Gargoyle is yet another bike that Sprunk sponsors, with a more retro design that can only really be seen underneath the seat. The GB200 has another simple Sprunk design, but definitely holds its own in the rally department. Another retro design can be seen on the Hardy, and it's called Silhouette Style. This is available on both the stock Hardy and the Drift Hardy as well, so it's kind of nice that it's not exclusive to only the Drift version like many of the other liveries are. Moving away from retro and more into the modern design, the Amorgon has a newer Sprunk logo and a bit of a louder design. The Issy Sport is yet another vehicle to feature two separate designs of the same Sprunk livery, one for Sprunk Extreme and the other for Light Sprunk. The Jugular might be a simple car, but its design is a little bit more complex, featuring black coloring in the center of the car. The Nero Custom is yet another car that only has its sponsorships available in Benny's. Moving over to the arena, you can actually make out some subtle Sprunk sponsorships on the Nightmare Bruiser, the Nightmare Brutus, the Nightmare Cerberus, the Nightmare Imperator, and the Nightmare ZR380. Now these are only available on the Nightmare versions, which feature brighter colors and make sense to have the lime and bright green of Sprunk. The Paragon R also features a subtle Sprunk design, as well as the Paragon R Armored, which is one of the only weaponized vehicles to be on this list. The PR4 is the first formula car we'll see on this list, and they're very clear with their Sprunk partnership. Now Ratel takes that partnership to a whole other level, taking it off-roading. The Reavers livery focuses mostly on color, but does have a small logo at the rear of the bike. The Sanchez livery is similar to the Body 801RR, where it comes stock with liveries, including its original Sprunk design from the 2013 days of the game. The Sprunk Buffalo also falls into this category, matching the similar design to the EVX and STX, but it is the original of these three. The Sprunk Pony is the only vehicle in Sprunk's roster that we can't own, and although it can't be customized, this vehicle does spawn with the Sprunk livery on it, and it's something I wish I could have in my garage. The newer Tampa GT has another classic design which matches well with the bright green, not their newer coloring. Speaking of coloring, the Tesseract's design has an off green, which is odd for the company, but does fit this car. The Thrax also features a very stylish design, with the Tulip M100 bringing back a more bare-bones design, simply having square logos plastered on the side of it. And our last land vehicle that's sponsored by Sprunk is the ZR350, and similar to the Hardy, this is also available on its Drift variant. But although these are our only two land vehicles, there are two aerial vehicles that feature Sprunk partnerships, including the LF22 Starling and the Mallard. Which means it's time to head over to the competitors, eCola. And surprisingly, they only have 5, maybe 6 competitors. That's right, the massive brand of eCola doesn't enjoy the racing or car community. These liveries are available on the Impaler, which has a very clear design with the number 84 and a massive logo on the back fender. The Michele GT, which again has square pictures of the logos plastered on the side, similar to the Tulip M100 for Sprunk. Then we have the Mule, which is the only vehicle to naturally spawn with an eCola paint job, advertisement, or livery. The S80RR, which actually has blue as its base color, a little odd for a company whose primary color is red. I'm also just noticing in post that the hood or rear area of this car wiggles a lot in the Rockstar editor, and I'm not sure why. Like, it definitely should not be moving that much. And finally, the Slam Truck, which actually features a couple unique liveries. Another possible contender is the Nightmare Bruiser, which, despite having a Sprunk livery, does have eCola cans available as a mod on the back end of the vehicle. So although it isn't directly a livery, it is a sponsorship. However, there are 12 vehicles that sponsor both a Sprunk and eCola design, and they include the BR8, all 3 of the Hot Ring cars including the Hot Ring Everon, Hellfire, and the Sabre, the Nightmare Dominator within the arena, the Novak, and the Vito Modern. Many of these are simply racing vehicles that have endless sponsorships, so it makes sense for them to have both of them, and they'll probably be referenced in many of these videos in this series. However, there's also 4 more aerial vehicles that feature both Sprunk and eCola designs, including the Alpha Z1, the Nightclub Blimp, the Havoc, and the Ultralight. But as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, there's one car that has both of these sponsorships in the same paint scheme, and that's the Hot Ring Sabre with its Sprunk v eCola design. This design was initially implemented into the game as Rockstar's version of the green versus purple alien, to try and spark that up again. And although this did work for Rockstar, it didn't gain nearly as much traction. So now, the moment of truth and comparison. Which of these companies has the better racing team? Well, to start, we actually have 5 classes that don't have any vehicles sponsored by either company, including the Industrial class, Emergency class, Cycles class, Coupes class, and the Boats class. The fastest SUV to feature either of these companies is the Novak, which is actually sponsored by both companies, so it's a tie, and the same can be said for the Sports class with the Hot Ring Everon, the Planes with the Alpha Z1, Open Wheel with the BR8, and Helicopters with the Havoc. So where do the rest of the classes fall? Well, Sports Classic is taken by eCola with their Michele GT, while Supers is taken by Sprunk with their Nero Custom. The Utilities class is also taken by eCola with their Slam Truck, and then the Commercial class is taken by Sprunk, tying it up with the Nightmare Cerberus. And this is where it starts to fall apart for eCola, because with the Pony being the fastest van, the Astrope GZ being the fastest sedan, the Brutus being the fastest off-road, the HSW Buffalo EVX being the fastest muscle car we've mentioned, the Reaver being the fastest motorcycle, and the Brioso RA being the fastest compact car, Sprunk takes every single one of those, bringing the score 8-2 for Sprunk, crowning them as today's victor. But what brand do you think I should cover in the next episode?